Alright everybody, welcome back. So this is a video that I kind of made up pretty quickly because I had an original video that was supposed to come out, but having errors uploading it, so I got to get this one out real quick so we can continue our upload schedule for every day. So we're going to talk about the Bruins now. I wasn't planning on talking about them, but now we're going to. So the Boston Bruins, are they done yet this offseason? Could they be making some more moves? Many would say probably yeah, but you know what? They might have the cap space to pull something else off here. We'll start off with the guys who they signed so far. They signed James Van Riemsdyk to a 1-by-1 deal. They signed Milan Lucic to a 1-by-1 deal. They signed Patrick Brown to a 2-year, $800K deal. And they also signed Morgan Geekie to a 2-by-2 to round out your offense there. I like the signing a lot with JVR. Look, he can be a low-risk, high-reward. He's solid on the power play. He was overpaid with my Flyers, but I still like it a lot for the Boston Bruins in that remark. You get a veteran in Milan Lucic, who is probably playing his last season with the Boston Bruins. We'll see where he fits in. Probably plays on the third line, I would imagine. But, maybe playing with Boston, he'll be better than he was in previous years with the Calgary Flames and such. They also signed Patrick Brown, of course, as I mentioned. Brown will be a solid depth or fourth line forward. I've liked Brown when he was with my Flyers and with the Ottawa Senators. I enjoyed him as well. And then they also signed young forward Morgan Geekie to a 2-year deal, which I like also because Geekie can be a solid offensive grit-type forward there for the Boston Bruins, and they definitely need that. On the blue line, apart from the re-signings and other minor league players, they only signed Kevin Shattenkirk to a 1-by-1 deal, which isn't bad. Shattenkirk with Anaheim, he wasn't very good, but neither was Anaheim, so I'm optimistic to see, of course, what they're going to do in the coming days, or in this coming season. But yeah, overall, I don't hate those signings, but if we're being honest, I look at what they lost. Of course, I'm going to like that more. They lost Dmitry Orlov, Garner Hathaway, and Tyler Bertuzzi are the main guys from their deadline. They did lose those guys, and those guys will hurt, definitely. Those guys were big parts towards the end of that season and in those playoffs. Like, they were buzzing for the first probably 4 games of that playoffs, and then they were also doing really well towards the end of the season. And losing those guys is a big loss, especially since they tried to keep Bertuzzi. He went back to Boston. Boston said no, and all that stuff. So it does stink that they lost those players, but it is time to move on. And then the other question is, too, Patrice Bergeron and David Krejci. Apparently, there's no word on whether or not they're going to come back, but I don't think they do. I'm going to be really honest with you guys. I don't think either of them come back, mainly because of how, they're up there in age. They're both 37 years old or 38 years old. They're both pretty decently old. They could come back and say, you know what, maybe I want to run it back another year. And Boston would likely keep them around. I wouldn't doubt that. In fact, it would probably help them more than it would hurt them, even though they are getting up there in age, because Bergeron still a really solid two-way player, and you take two of probably your first and second line center there, your 1-2 punch, out of the lineup, they're kind of screwed in that remark. But if they do want to come back, it is an option, but I don't think they do. They're getting to the point in their careers where that's probably going to be it for them. But the other question is, are the Bruins done yet? And there's multiple meaning to that question. There's the meaning of, are they done signing, or are they just done being contending and being a cup contending team? Well, they're not having that season again. I think I'm not surprising any Bruins fans by saying that. They're not having that season again. They're not going to be a 64-win team like they were this past year, or 65-win, however many wins it was. That's not happening again. But I don't see why they couldn't make the playoffs with the team that they still have. They didn't lose a lot. I know they lost a decent amount, but they didn't lose a ton for them to be, in this position. Honestly, I actually kind of felt like they were in a worse position 2 years ago heading into the bubble. And I made a video on that when I was 13 years old? I made a video because Pastrnak and Bergeron, Marchand, and I think even as well as that too, Zdeno Chara, who was with the team at the time, was also a free agent. So there was all those looming questions around them. And I actually felt worse about them then than I do now, if I'm being honest. I have doubted this Bruins team multiple times, and they have proved me wrong. So I am not doubting them again, and it's probably the time where they missed the playoffs. But honestly, I still think with the roster they have, I still think they're a contending team. Are they as contending as they were last year? No, they will never get close. I don't think they will ever get close back to that, unless if they go out and make a huge splash with the free agents that are still remaining. But honestly, as of right now, I can't see them being a huge contender again. But overall, I still think they are. I still think they are regardless. The Pastrnak deal does kick in, yes. But they still have almost $7 million in cap space right now. So if they wanted to go out, They see Patrick Kane. They see Vladimir Tarasenko. Could they think to themselves, maybe? Now, that might not be the fit for a team like Boston, but they have the options. And we knew they were going to get worse. They kind of got screwed over here, but I still think they will be good next year. I don't see the reason why they wouldn't be. I know the guys they acquired, maybe they aren't the best, but they're good to fill roster spots with. I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be at least a playoff contending team. I don't know about a cup contending team, but they definitely should be. They still have the roster to do that. And if they go out and decide to make more free agency moves, then they absolutely will be closer to that remark, definitely. But overall, I really do think Boston is still in a good spot. And even though, look, Pastrnak and look, the guys are getting old. There's no denying that. Bergeron's the first to go. It'll be the first of many, most likely. Next up's probably gonna be either like Marchand or someone like that. Like there's gonna be everyone gets older at some point, and guys are just gonna it's gonna happen. But honestly, I'm not as worried as many people are. I know the prospect pool is a little shallow. I understand that. But honestly, if they keep it conservative for the next couple of years, maybe they don't try and like heavy contend with the roster they have, and then maybe they go, save up their draft picks at the next deadline and then make the playoffs when you lose in the first round, get solid draft picks in next year's stacked draft. And they got guys like Fabian Zetterlund too coming in, and Johnny Beecher and some other guys that could come up into the lineup and be solid. And that's best case scenario. But overall, maybe we could be seeing the possibility of maybe a small retool by Boston soon, but I don't think they miss the playoffs. I think, if anything, Florida will miss over them, if I'm being brutally honest. And that's not me being a Bruins fan. The Bruins are one of my favorite teams, but honestly, I do think they are in a better spot than people may think. But anyways, let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, subscribe button down below. I made this very quickly, so that's why it's coming out a little bit later than usual videos. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Adios.